Hello, Voy listener. Welcome to VOI Talk today. And of course, good morning, listener, and also happy Idul Fitri. It's a time of joy, reflection, and togetherness. But for Indonesians that are abroad, celebrating away from home brings its own experience and challenges. And today, we would like to the ambassador of the New Delhi, India, or the charge d'affaires at interim of the Republic of Indonesia to the Republic of India and the Kingdom of Bhutan with Mr. Masni Eriza. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you very much, Pak Ray. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and of course, happy Idul Fitri
Happy Idul Fitri to
in
you
India
too.
also. Okay, so I would like to ask you, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when the Idul Fitri starts yesterday?
Well, for us as Indonesian Muslims, Idul Fitri is always identical to festivities, family bonding, relatives bonding. That's always what we have in Indonesia. But of course, while we are living in a faraway country where Muslims are not that many in percentage as we compare it with Indonesia, of course, it feels a little bit different. That's why when we join other Indonesian Muslims, and not only Muslims actually, we invite all Indonesians who would like to come to the embassy, and we have our own family gathering as a big Indonesian family in India.
Okay, so from what I can see from the video, the event is held outdoors. And can you tell us where exactly is that happening?
That was conducted within the embassy compound because our embassy here is quite big when we talk about land. So we have several fields that we can transform into the place of worship, and then we set that up within the embassy compound. And we yesterday luckily can accommodate, but it was around 200 people were there, 200 Indonesians. So it was quite, feels like home, far away from home.
Yes, yes, yes. And what are some of the unique challenges or maybe differences that the people from Indonesia experience while celebrating Idul Fitri yesterday? Is it like the food or the atmosphere and whatnot?
Well, the food, well, we felt like we were Indonesia yesterday because all the food was served are Indonesian food. But of course, as you are well aware, in Indonesia, in India, the percentage of Muslims are not that big as we compare with Indonesia. There are only around 14 to 15% of Muslim in India. Out of 1.4 something billion people, only 15% Muslim. So in terms of the feel, the emotional bound that we feel, of course, it will be very different. Because in Indonesia, when Lebaran comes and everything, even weeks before Lebaran, we feel the atmosphere already. But in India, that's unfortunately we do not feel it that much. That's one of the challenges because the number of Muslims in India is not that much, so we don't feel it directly. Only if you go to certain places in India, especially in New Delhi, like when you go to the area of Old Delhi, where they have the Jama Masjid, which can accommodate around 30,000 people. Yes, you feel the atmosphere of Ramadan, the atmosphere of Idul Fitri there. But when you go some other places in Delhi, you don't really feel that. That's the first thing that you miss. And of course, if you join their celebrations, there's always this cultural differences, the language differences. The sermons will be delivered in Hindi or in most of the places, or even in Urdu language, we don't have any connection with. So for sure you are there, but you don't feel it. That's why we have the celebration at the embassy. So our Indonesian people, our Indonesian friends, our Indonesian family can feel like home.
Okay, so I would like to ask, since the Muslim is not the major population over there in India, how do the Indians or the local people there accept the tradition that is happening, especially in Idul Fitri? Is there like any helping hand from the locals to celebrate the Idul Fitri?
As for the celebration we have within the embassy, of course, we have to say that there is no outside help for us because we can organize it by ourselves. But from what we observe at the local mosque, not so too far from my house, there's quite a big mosque actually. Well, they can only accommodate like 3,000 people. What we feel is this the brotherhood atmosphere. So while probably some of us have seen or read some news that the bonding between the people are not that good, but from what we have so far observed, everything is good. Wherever we go to the places, they can worship freely. A lot of mosques are in Delhi, and from time to time we hear the call of azan every time, every prayer time. So we don't really feel that much difference. Of course, again, because the number is not that much, we don't also hear and see that much. That's only the only difference I feel.
Ah, okay, okay. But as an Indonesian community in New Delhi, how do they adapt it for their Eid celebration over the years? Because it's not just happened once, right? It happened before. And how do the people of Indonesia adapt it, celebrating Eid al-Fitr over the years?
Usually, of course, from my conversation with some Indonesians that are married to the local Indian Muslim, what they say, of course, they blend in the family traditions, whether it within the extended family of the spouses or the localities of their family homes. But of course, again, the atmosphere is totally different because the practice of Idul Fitri differs from one place to another. So that's why the embassy always keen on having this celebration together with Indonesian community, whoever can come to the embassy during the Eid, not only Idul Fitri, but also Idul Adha. We always invite the Indonesian people and have the celebrations together as a bigger Indonesian community because they also bring their Indian spouses to the embassy. So it feels like really a very big family gathering for us.
Okay, since like you said before that the Muslim population in India is 15% only, but what about the Muslim population in Bhutan, or is there any Indonesian spread out over there? Can you tell us the exact numbers or maybe the
In
calculation?
Bhutan, no. From our notes, there is no Indonesian living in Bhutan because, of course, Bhutan population is quite small, quite small. Of course, compared to India, which is a giant next to Bhutan. And based on our notes, there is no Indonesian living in Bhutan.
Okay, so what are the most meaningful aspects of Eid for Indonesian living in New Delhi or abroad, especially living in a place like New Delhi? Is there like the moment that they are chasing after, usually at that one time of the year only?
Well, of course, for us, just like what we have in Indonesia, actually, Idul Fitri is always connected with our spiritual renewal. Is for us the moment after a full month of fasting, is the moment to reconnect with our uh, faith, our inner self, and particularly when we are far away from home because we do not get the bonding with our surroundings that easy. And of course, then the cultural identity of Indonesians, it is very unique for us, and then also at the same time also very meaningful. We are able to celebrate the tradition in a place that is so far from home that practice the celebration in a quite different way. Those are the two that I can mention for now.
Okay, so for the Indonesian diaspora who are living in New Delhi, India, and cannot come to the embassy to celebrate, how can the embassy like help the Indonesian diaspora to celebrate Idul Fitri even though they cannot come to the embassy?
Well, of course, we always hope to be able to reach out to every Indonesians living in India, not only in New Delhi, but of course, this country is a vast landmass, so it's very big. If sometimes we think that Indonesia is already very big, but India is 4 or 5 times larger than Indonesia. So of course, reaching out to our people is not always that easy. But what we can usually do, besides the celebration that we organize at the embassy, we always reach out to them through the social media, through the WhatsApp groups. We routinely, regularly ask them how are they doing and what can we help to make them feel at home. But usually, of course, they are quite well. They live quite well there. So far, what we heard from our Indonesian people who cannot come to the celebration, well, they only feel the regret that they cannot join the big feast and promise to join later. But so far, we have not heard any problem with them because we usually have contact with them. So whenever they need assistance, the embassy team always happy to help them.
Okay, so how do the Indonesian celebrate like can you tell us a little bit about how do Indonesian, especially the embassy, like celebrate other special events like this also like Idul Fitri like and you just mentioned Idul Adha is it happening only in the embassy or the mosque outside from New Delhi?
That also happens at all other mosques in New Delhi and all over India, so to speak. But again, we always try to include our Indonesian extended families who live in Delhi and embrace them and to ask them to join us with our celebration. We also have Idul Adha. We have a small mosque actually inside the embassy that we use to have a Friday prayer and other religious activities for the very small community of our embassy staff. But we usually also welcome other people who would like to join us inside within at the mosque. So of course, from time to time, we have this small gathering, and for religious celebration, we always try to reach out to more Indonesian people outside the embassy.
Oh yeah, the when the event also happened, there's sometimes the locals help embassy in like preparing the preparation for like any festive day that is happening in the embassy.
Yeah, yeah, of course. That's part of the gathering actually, where we bond together and we do things together.
Okay, so for the final question, I would like to ask what message would you like to share with Indonesian that is celebrating Eid in New Delhi or the other parts of the world and maybe like the other parts of India that are currently spread out?
Well, of course, being a Muslim in a non-majority in a non-Muslim majority country pose a bit of challenge for us because it's not as easy as in Indonesia whenever we want to have a celebration, religious celebration. That's why we always tell our Indonesians to embrace our cultural identity, not to make yourself different from the other Indian, but in Indonesia, wherever we are, we try. When you're in Rome, do as the Romans do. So we always try to blend in with the local communities. But of course, at the same time, the all Indonesians are also expected to become the cultural ambassadors of Indonesia, because people, especially in most countries, especially in India, people know that Indonesia is a Muslim majority country. Most of our people are Muslims, and they expect to see us to behave like what they like a proper Muslim. I mean, it could be different from one place to another. That's why, as Indonesians living in other country, we of course always ask our Indonesian countrymen to behave like Indonesians. You are the cultural ambassadors of Indonesia, so show your best to the Indian people. Show your best to the people wherever you live, so they will have an eternal positive view, positive perspective about Indonesia. Those are the two messages that I would like to convey to all Indonesians living abroad.
Okay, so a little bit of a final question for you. Do you want to like celebrate Idul Fitr and coming back to Indonesia, maybe for like next year, and just to celebrate the event festively in Indonesia, sir?
But yeah, why not? Why not? Of course, it's always feel different. Home is really home. But again, what we can do when we are far away, we try to create an atmosphere in which the all Indonesians can feel at home. While it is also, we know that so far from home.
Okay, that is such an amazing intake. Thank you so much, Mr. Masni Eriza, for accompanying me in this VR talk this morning. And also, that was our conversation with Masni Eriza, the Charge d'Affaires ad interim of the Republic of Indonesia to the Republic of India and the Kingdom of Bhutan, and about how Eid al-Fitr is celebrated in different parts of the world, especially in New Delhi, India. No matter where you are, just like Mr. Masni said, the spirit of Eid unites us through faith, traditions, and togetherness, and also makes atmosphere home, even though you're not home in Indonesia. Thank you so much for a listener for accompanying me in this special morning interview in VR Talk, and I'll see you in another episode.
Thank you.